The anger is boiling over. Asim Munir's brutal crackdown in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir has left Pakistan exposed as questions continue to grow over just how desperate the Pakistan army really is to try and silence the protesters, and how miserably it has failed to do so because the entire world is watching. But then when does this end? Let's tell you what's happened in the latest. A British national was reportedly shot dead by the Pakistani forces in PoK. His name, Mohammad Akhtar, he was reportedly killed by the Pakistani security forces during protests in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Another British citizen reportedly remains detained. The families allege reportedly excessive force and arbitrary arrests. The UK government has expressed concern over the situation. This comes on top of the mounting anger over the killing of several protesters in PoK, and the situation has remained volatile to say the least. Here's what's known about this British national. According to a Guardian report citing his family, Mohammad Akhtar was reportedly killed on the 9th of June after Pakistani security forces opened fire on protesters gathered to demand economic and electoral reforms in PoK. In fact, reports suggest that another British national has remained behind bars in a prison in PoK for more than 2 months, despite the efforts by his family to secure his release through the intervention of UK's Foreign Office. Akhtar was reportedly staying in Kotley city in PoK, near the area where the clashes broke out. And according to the Guardian report, his cousin says he wasn't even taking part in the protests. The demonstrations were happening close to his house, and there was firing by the forces that day, and that he was hit by a stray bullet. His family reportedly had been unable to even file a police complaint in PoK and feared that drawing attention to the case could put the family at risk. Just imagine their plight. In fact, the UK's Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office has expressed grave concern over the dire situation in PoK. Before we talk more about that, let's also lay out the context. The situation there has remained on the boil amid Asim Munir's cruel crackdown. Meanwhile, the anger in Balochistan has been intensifying as well. So are the calls for independence there. In fact, Baloch leader Mir Baloch urged the international community to recognize the independence of Balochistan and slammed Pakistan for its ongoing repression at the hands of the Pakistani establishment. In a post on X, he said, I'm quoting now, "The 6 crore people of Balochistan celebrate their National Independence Day every year on the 11th of August. Today, we have reached a stage where we do not merely celebrate our independence, but demand from the world that the independence of Balochistan be recognized legally, politically, diplomatically, and morally." Doubling down on Pakistan as it continues to curtail the freedoms in Balochistan. He claimed that more than 50,000 Baloch are still enduring inhuman atrocities in Pakistan. He also slammed Pakistan further, saying it may possess thousands of tanks, hundreds of warplanes, artillery, a large army, but the army of Balochistan, according to him, is 10 times more powerful and successful than the army of Pakistan in physical, mental, and fighting capability. In a message, he also claimed that Balochistan was an independent nation and urged countries and the international organizations to stop referring to the region as a province of Pakistan. He said moral support for the people of Balochistan must continue so that they can remove, in his words, the cancer-like Pakistan from the land. Just for further context, last month, remember, the rebel group claimed to have seized control of majority of the region and had declared independence. And in the message of independence, the group also thanked international media organizations, particularly those in India, as well as researchers, think tanks, that it said had highlighted the Balochistan issue globally. Balochistan is observing its Independence Day, as it calls it, continuing that annual tradition. The Baloch struggle for independence, remember, has significant historical origins, starting way back in 1947. Meanwhile, people have reportedly voiced concerns over the communication blackout on the ground as authorities have suspended mobile and internet services in Quetta and various other parts of Pakistan's Balochistan for a second consecutive day because of the looming security threats, as per local media. All of these developments adding to the concern, the growing list of questions that Pakistan needs to answer. The killing of the British national in PoK, the killings of protesters by Munir's forces, triggering serious concern and a question that remains unanswered. When will Pakistan be held accountable for killing civilians there? In fact, earlier today, India called on the international community to hold Pakistan accountable for the gross violation of human rights in PoK, slamming Pakistan for violence against protesters in the area. And asked about reports that Americans of Kashmiri descent had written to the UN Secretary General seeking intervention to end the violence in PoK. The MEA spokesperson backed the call for greater international attention to the situation. He stressed on how in the last several months we have seen that during the elections and before that, large-scale protests were held there and public discontent was answered with bullets and blackouts.
I would like to highlight that we have seen the kind of human rights violations that were committed in Pakistan occupied Kashmir and other parts of that country. We call upon the international community to hold Pakistan accountable for its misdeeds, for its abuses, and for flagrant violation or gross violation of human rights.
The situation at PoK has once again highlighted Pakistan's shortcomings, to say the least, when it comes to guaranteeing basic human rights to its people. Not just that, the atrocities, the killings. There is a growing need for the international community to take note of the situation and not just that, hold Pakistan accountable for the deaths reported during the recent violence. As ordinary people continue to lose their lives, these are killings that cannot and will not be brushed under the carpet. A day after the protest march to the assembly, the crisis over alleged irregularities in the Jharkhand Public Service Commission exam has only intensified. Amid heavy police deployment, BJP workers have taken to the streets to enforce what they are calling the Jharkhand Bandh. Let's tell you more about what has unfolded in the state. The BJP called for the Jharkhand Bandh over alleged police action on the protesting students in the state. To enforce the Jharkhand Bandh, BJP workers blocked roads at multiple locations, throwing normal life out of gear in a way. And visuals from an area in Ranchi also showing a group of BJP workers blocking a crucial intersection by sitting on the roads. In another incident, BJP workers blocked a road during the statewide bandh. A large number of police personnel, in fact, intervened to stop the crowd. At the same road, the situation became intense as the BJP workers stepped up their demonstration, setting a tire on fire. The situation further intensified with chaotic scenes unfolding at the protest march of the ABVP while marching from the old assembly building to the new premises. The ABVP workers clashed with the police allegedly, with some of them climbing over a police bus reportedly. The protesters were later detained by the police. BJP's call for this statewide bandh in Jharkhand, remember, came a day after the police allegedly used batons, water cannon, tear gas shells to disperse the job aspirants who marched towards the state assembly yesterday. Several agitators and policemen were injured after demonstrators breached multiple barricades during the protest march. Police forces used water cannons to disperse the demonstrators. It failed to push back the protesters as some of them were seen dancing amid the water cannon action. To keep the situation under control, police forces resorted to lathi charge and tear gas. Protesters alleged that several people, including women, were injured during the action. While Ranchi police said at least 14 policemen were hurt after stone pelting.
The police used minimal force. We allowed the protesters to do whatever they wished to do all day long. We made every effort to reason with them and persuade them gently. There were some individuals who do not listen and repeatedly try to create a ruckus.
Shifting focus now to a major revelation. While returning from the NATO summit in Turkey a month ago, US President Donald Trump took a rather unusual last-minute decision. Instead of boarding the newly retrofitted Boeing 747 gifted by Qatar, he claimed to have flown by the older Air Force One till Britain. And if reports are to be believed, this was a deception allegedly, which probably put lives of journalists at risk. Let's tell you why this question is being asked. According to the New York Times and the Washington Post, Trump secretly flew by a military jet in wake of threats from Iran, before switching to the Qatari jet in the UK for the flight back to Washington, DC. What unfolded in public eye, though, was another story altogether. Let's just lay it out for you and tell you exactly what emerged. For this, let's take you back to the 8th of July. Have a look at these visuals. Trump here is seen boarding that aircraft, the Air Force One, the older Air Force One at the Ankara airport. He even waved from the door as cameras recorded his departure. In the next frame, you can see a catering truck parked near the Air Force One. Minutes later, it pulled away from the spot as media personnel then boarded the aircraft. And thereafter, the footage appears to show the truck moving behind the plane towards the staircase leading to the military jet. That's the truck right there that we are talking about. Now, this assumes a lot of significance as reports claimed that Trump was transported to the military jet in a catering truck. Now, this elaborate plan continued when the older Air Force One landed at UK's airbase. While Trump reportedly stepped off the plane about 40 minutes later, reports now claim that he was first secretly driven from the military aircraft to this plane, which he boarded through a different entrance. And this gave out the impression, in a way, as if Trump had traveled on that jet. And what makes this even more interesting and worth noting is that journalists traveling with Trump seem to have been kept in the dark about this secret plan. While the US Secret Service has used decoy motorcades and flights in the past to move presidents secretly, this also raises some troubling questions. If the threat to Trump's life was credible, why were journalists then allowed to board the older Air Force One jet? Don't journalists' lives matter for the Trump administration? And these are serious questions. Incidentally, Trump's version on this incident kept changing. Initially, the US president, remember, claimed that he was taking the older Air Force One jet as the Qatari aircraft would travel to the UK early so that US troops could tour it. Later, when asked whether security concerns had influenced that decision, he did not quite answer directly, but he acknowledged a serious threat to his life from Iran. Let's just play out for you what he had said back then.
No, I'm number one on the kill list for Iran. They're lovely people. I'm number one. So I don't know. I can't tell you that. But I don't really care because I'm doing my job and I'm doing it, I hope, better than anybody's ever done it because we have a country that's hot and really, really successful. But
when asked about the latest reports, this is what the Trump administration had to say. The White House communications director told the New York Times reportedly, and I'm quoting, "As the president has said recently, there are many enemies of America who have their sights on him, and we use every tool at our disposal to address those threats," quote unquote. However, the White House was silent on why it potentially risks the lives of journalists. That remains the big question. And this also comes at a time when Trump has been struggling to convince Iran about a deal, even as Iran has been unwilling to reopen the Strait of Hormuz for free passage of ships. Trump claimed the US has total control of this strategic waterway owing to its naval blockade. Riling Iran further, he demanded compensation for people it has allegedly killed over the decades. Listen to this.
They asked for reparations, you might say, or they asked for money for the damage that we've done. I said, that's a good idea. Well, we're going to ask for money for the damage they've done over a 50-year period. Whether you go SS Cole or whether you go all of the people that were so badly hurt, so badly wounded or killed, many thousands of people.
Let's also tell you, while Qatar stressed that talks between Oman and Iran on the future of shipping in Hormuz are at a critical point, it is apparent that a US-Iran deal is still far away, considering the extent of their differences.